Hey guys and girls, this is Zen ASMR, and today I wanted to do a little something different. I've decided that I am going to start with Code Academy, and we're gonna learn Ruby, and just kind of see how it goes. I've never touched. I have no idea what Ruby is, so this is gonna be new for me, and and this is not meant to be. I mean, hopefully you guys can learn a few things here and there, but it is mostly for relaxing. Basically, hearing my voice and hearing me type on my keyboard, and the goal is to relax and get sleepy. So let's get started. Alright, so it says that overview and sneak peek that Ruby is powerful and is a flexible programming language you can use in web internet development to process text, to create games, and as part of the popular Ruby on Rails the popular Ruby on Rails web framework. So Ruby is high level, meaning that reading and writing, Ruby is really easy. It looks a lot like regular English. And that Ruby is interpreted, meaning that you don't need a compiler to write and run Ruby. You can write it here at Code Academy or even on your own computer. It is object oriented, meaning that it allows users to manipulate data structure called objects in order to build and execute programs. We'll learn more about objects later, but for now all you need to know is that everything in Ruby is an object. Ruby is easy to use. Ruby was designed by Yukihiro Matsumoto, often just called Mats, in 1995. Mats set out to design a language that emphasized human needs over those of the computer, which is why Ruby is so easy to pick up. This course assumes no previous knowledge of Ruby in particular, or programming computer science in general. Good, because I don't have none in the above. So ready to learn Ruby? Let's click the button and submit. So we're ready to start the next lesson. Okay. So, set the following variables to the corresponding values. Okay, welcome to Ruby. So that looks like it's a comment, and again, the hashtag is used. So there are data types, numbers, strings, and booleans. In Ruby, your information or data can come in different types. There are 3 data types in Ruby that we're interested in right now. The numbers, booleans, which can be true or false, and strings, which are words or phrases like, I'm learning Ruby. Computer programs exist to quickly analyze and manipulate data. For that reason, it's important for us to understand different data types that we can use in our programs. Now we have to remember to never use quotation marks, a single quote or a double quotes with booleans, or Ruby will think you're talking about a string, which is a word or a phrase, instead of a value that can be true or false. It's also important to remember that Ruby is case sensitive. It cares about capitalization. Okay, let's see what it wants us to do. So set the following variables to the corresponding values. So the first variable is my num equals to 25. The second one is my boolean, so my underscore boolean space equal space to true, and my string, my underscore string equals to Ruby in double quotes. And we will save and submit. variables. One of the most basic concepts in computer programming is the variable. You can think of a variable as a word or name that grasps a single value. For example, let's say you needed the number 25 from our last example, but you're not going to use it right away. You can set a variable, say my underscore num, to grasp the value 25 and hang on to it for later uses. So we would put my underscore num is equal 25. We're like putting it away. Declaring of variables in Ruby is easy. You just write out a name like my num. You use the equal sign to assign it in a value, and you're done. If you need to change a variable, no sweat. You just type it again and hit equal to assign it a new value. Instructions. So set the variable my num to the value 100. So my underscore num is equal to 100. We submit. I think for some reason the internet had just sort of disconnect. Let me just okay, good. It worked. Start next lesson. Sorry about that. Okay, math. Ruby isn't limited to simple expressions of assignments like my num equal 100, but it can also do all the math you learn about in school. There's 6 arithmetic operations we're going to focus on: the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponentiation, and modulo. The only ones that probably looks weird to you are exponentiation and modulo. Exponentiation raises one number, the base, to the power of the other number, the exponent. For example, 2 with the star signs or the multiplication sign twice to the third, which is 3. So 2 multiplication 3 is 8. Since 2 to the third means give me 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 multiplied together 3 times. Modulo returns the remainder of a division. For example, 25 divided by 7 would be 4, since 7 goes into 25 3 times and there's 4 left over. So let's do a little bit of math to practice. So let's do some addition. We'll do 2 plus 4. And then subtraction, 5 minus 3. Multiplication, 4 times 2. And a division, 9 divided by 3. Exponentiation, 3 squared. And the modulo, let's do 8. The percentage sign, which is the modulo. 8 modulo 3. And then let's submit. Good. Start next lesson. Puts and print. The print command just takes whatever you give it and prints it out to the screen. Puts for put string is slightly different. It adds a new blank line after the thing you wanted to print. You use them like this. So puts with a string what's up. And then the next would be print Oxnard Montalvo. In the editor, use at least one print statement and at least one put statement. Okay, so we'll say puts what's up YouTube and print Zen ASMR. So we got a badge, what's up YouTube, and then here it printed Zen ASMR nil. Everything in Ruby is an object because everything in Ruby is an object. Everything in Ruby has a certain built-in abilities called methods, and you can think of method as skills that certain objects have. For instance, strings, words or phrases have built-in methods that can tell you the length of the string, reverse the string, and more. We also promise to tell you more about the interpreter. The interpreter is the program that takes the code you write and runs it. You type the code in the editor, and the interpreter reads your code and it shows you the result of running your code in the console. So let's just submit that to say that we've learned it, and we continue. The length method, which is dot and the word length. Methods are summoned using a period. If you have a string, something like I love espresso, and take the dot length of it, Ruby will return the length of the string. That is the number of characters, which are letters, numbers, spaces, and symbols. So I love espresso dot length, and the answer is 15. That little line starting with the hashtag isn't part of what you need to write. It just shows you what the output of Ruby will be. Okay, so let's call the length method on your name. So we put our name between quotes, Zen ASMR dot length. Save and submit. 7. So there are 7 characters in Zen ASMR. The reverse method, which is dot reverse. The dot reverse method is called the same way as dot length is, but instead of asking Ruby to tell you how long a string is, it spits out a backward version of the string you gave it. For instance, Eric in reverse will be CIRE. Okay, and then it wants us to do the same thing with our name, which is quote Zen ASMR dot reverse, and we submit. It will give us the RMSA and easy. Upcase and downcase. So let's try one more method. As you might have guessed, the upcase and the downcase methods convert a string to all uppercase or all lowercase respectively. Okay, so let's do upcase on our name. And so we'll put, so we want to put, which is kind of to print it on the screen. So we'll put puts and then quotation mark Zen ASMR and dot upcase. And then we'll put, oops, perts, not perts, puts. Zen ASMR in downcase. And we submit. So it gave us Zen ASMR all in capital letters and Zen ASMR all in lowercase letters. Okay, single line comments. So the single line comments is basically sort of like Python, which is a hashtag. So hashtag. Let's write Zen ASMR loves people of YouTube. And this will not be, actually, why am I having a hard time with my connections? So we're just gonna have to, okay. So it didn't return anything because it was a comment. And a comment is used anything that's written after a hashtag. To make a multi-line comments, you can write a comment that spans multiple lines by starting each line with the hashtag. But there's an easier way. If you start with equal begin and end with equal end, everything between those two expressions will be comment. Okay, so you don't put any space between the equal sign and the words begin or ends. Okay, so create a multi-line comments in the editor. So equals begin, I'm a comment. I can write anything and nothing will be printed. And then equal n. Good. So it didn't print anything that I wrote because I used equal begin and equal end. Naming conventions. There are many different kinds of variables you'll encounter as you progress through these courses, but right now we're just concerned with regular old local variables. By convention, these variables should start with a lowercase letter and words should be separated by underscores, like counter and masterful underscore method. Ruby won't stop you from starting your local variables with other symbols, such as capital letters, a $sign, or an @sign. But by convention, these mean different things, and so it's best to avoid confusion by doing what the Ruby community does. So we're going to create a variable name and equals, give it a value to our name as a string, Zen ASMR. Submit Zen ASMR as a string. Variables and data types. Let's quickly review how to declare and set variables. So we're going to call a variable my name, so my underscore name, and sets it equal to our name as a string, Zen ASMR. Then create a second variable called my age, which will be equal to, as a number, so we don't use any quotes. So what would be a perfect number? I say 24 is pretty nice. Okay. So we start next lesson. Math. Alright, so let's do a little bit of math. So in the editor, sets the variable for sum will be equal to 13 plus 379. Oops, I forgot to put a space. And then product equals to 923 times 15. And the quotient, oops, equal, I forgot the equals. What am I doing? Okay, and then another equals to 13,209 divided by 17. So those are set variables. So now we could write a program and call back these variables. Okay, strings and string methods. So let's do a little review of string methods. Remember, when you call a method using the dot operator or period operator like this, so the string and then dot method. So we're going to declare a variable name, which sets it equal to a string, then ASMR, and we're going to call it downcase on our name, and then we're going to reverse it, which then you just continue. So name equals between quotes then ASMR, which is a string, dot downcase, dot reverse, and dot upcase. So we could have like done it all separately, or we can do it in all one line like this. Okay. Comments. So create a single line comment, which is the hashtag. Hi. Hi. Beautiful people of YouTube. And then a multi-line. So we do equal begin. Thank you so much for being there. And then equal end. And we're done with this. Alright, so we're going to build this program here, which will ask what's your name, what's your first name, what's your last name, what city are you from, what state or province are you from, and then it will put your name is something, something, and you're from someplace. Okay, so what's your first name? Then, what's your last name? Is MR. What city are you from? Let's see. I am from Caro. What state or province are you from? Oh, I was gonna put a country. I was gonna put Egypt. Your name is Zen ASMR and you're from Cairo, Egypt. Okay, not really. I wouldn't want to be from there right now. But I'd like to go visit the pyramids someday. Okay. Okay. It's kind of like trying to do its thing. Let's pick a city from the States. Let's pick Atlanta, Georgia. I've been watching The Walking Dead. Okay. Alright, so to prompt the user, well, first let's write the code we're already familiar with. And in order to get input from the user, we'll first need to print a prompt on the screen. So we're going to print the question, what's your first name? Okay, and then let's submit that. Oh. Whoops. Did I already forget what to do? Or is it puts? Puts. What's your first name? No, that's what it's printed. Okay, Let's just go back real quick. Print, what's your first name? Well, that's what I did. How come? Yeah, print, what's your first name? Oh, I must have made a mistake again. Well, I guess we learn from our mistakes, don't we? Okay, so now to get the input, we will do something like the variable underscore name equals to gets.chomp. So the gets.chomp, it's going to be our prompt from to the user to get the input. Okay, so print what's your first name, and then the variable first name, first underscore name equals to gets chomp, gets dot chomp. We submit. What's your first name? Zen. And it returns Zen. Repeat for more input. Alright, so now we need to repeat what we've done for last name, city, and state. So we do print what's your last name, and then we put last name is equal to gets dot chomp, and then print what city are you from? No, which city are you from? And then we put city, and we give it the variable. We take city. What do we want? Oh, we want gets chomp. I like to say chomp. I don't know why. Gets chomp. And then we want to print which state or province are you from? Close the quotes, and then we'll put state is equal to gets chomp. So what's your first name? Zen. ASMR. Which city are you from? I am from Atlanta, Georgia. There you go. Okay, so printing the output. So it's not really printing us information that is pretty, and ready to be used for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to print out the values of the first name, last name, the city, and the state. So way to do this, below the first one, after first name equals gets chomp, we'll write puts your name is, and then we'll put a hashtag and open a squiggly bracket, and we'll put the name of the variable, which is first name. We close the squiggly bracket and we close the quote, and then we're going to do the same thing for the other ones. Puts your last name is hashtag open squiggly bracket last underscore name, and we close the squiggly bracket and the quote. Same for the city. We want to put you are from hashtag open squiggly city close squiggly and a quote, and then puts you are from, and then hashtag state open squiggly no, hashtag squiggly state, we close the squiggly and the quotes. So we're gonna submit the code. So what's your first name? Zen. So your name is Zen. What's your last name? ASMR. So your last name is ASMR. Which city are you from? Atlanta. You are from Atlanta. Which state or province are you from? Georgia. You are from Georgia. I should have put Rick Grimes. Okay. So formatting with string methods. So great. Now that we've got our output, but as you can see, we haven't used strings methods to properly capitalize everything yet. So the way to do this, first we introduce one new method, which is capitalize here. It capitalizes the first letter of a string and make the rest of the letters lowercase, and we assign the results to answer 2. The next line might look a little strange. We don't assign a result of capitalized to a variable. Instead, you might notice that the exclamation point at the end of capitalize. This modifies the value contained within the variable answer itself. The next time you use the variable answer, you will get the result answer that is capitalized. So our instructions is to, after each variable assignments of first name, last name, city, and we add the capitalize method. And so for state, we use the uppercase method. Okay, so we go to what's your first name, and then so first name, and then first name 2 will be first name dot capitalize, and then we want first name dot capitalize. Okay, and we'll do the same thing for the other ones. So last name 2 equals to last name capitalize, and then last name capitalize. Okay. And then for the city, we want city 2 equals to city capitalize, and then city dot capitalize. And then for the last one with states, we put state 2 is equal to state capitalized. No, actually, it's uppercase for the state. So uppercase actually, I forgot to put the exclamation points at the end of the last capitalized. So first name dot capitalize with an exclamation point. It modifies the value. Okay, so let's not forget this. And uppercase and then state equals to, nope, not equal, state dot capitalize with an exclamation point. What's your first name? Rick. Your name is Rick. What's your last name? Grimes. Your last name is Grimes. Which city are you from? Atlanta. You're from Atlanta. Which state or province are you from? Georgia. Wait. It's not capitalized, it's upcase. Upcase. The state. Okay. Let's do this around. Rick, Grimes, Atlanta, and Georgia. Okay, so it wrote Georgia all in capital letters. Okay. Who could we pick? Daryl. Oh, I don't know what Daryl's last name is. Dixon. Which city are you from? He's not from Atlanta, but we'll just stick with that. Okay. I don't know why I'm thinking about The Walking Dead. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, how it works. You may have noticed that the kinds of programs we've written so far in Ruby aren't very flexible. Sure, they can take user input, but they always produce the same result based on that input. They don't change their behavior in reaction to the environment. The collection of all variables and their values that exist in the program at a given time. Control flow gives us the flexibility we're looking for. We can select different outcomes depending on information the user types and the result of a computation or the value returned by another part of the program. So let's check the code. So print integer please, and then it will take the gets chump, which will be an integer, and put it in user num. Now we say that if user num is less than 0, we put you picked a negative integer. Else if the user number is greater than 0, we puts you picked a positive integer. And else puts you picked 0 and end. Integer please. 8. You picked a positive integer. Okay. So let's see. If Ruby's if statement takes an expression, which is just a fancy word for something that has a value like 4, true, or pants. If that expression is true, Ruby executes the block of codes that follows the if. If not, if it's true, well, actually, if it's not true and that it's false, Ruby doesn't execute that block of code. It skips it and goes on to the next thing. An example of an if statement. So if 1 is less than 2, I'm going to print. I'm getting printed because 1 is less than 2. And end. Ruby doesn't care about white space. So the indentation of the print statement isn't necessary, but it is a convention that a Rubyist follows, so it's good to get into the habit now. The block of code following an if should be indented 2 space. When you're done with your if, you have to tell Ruby by typing end. So write your own if statement in the editor. Okay, so if 8 if 8 is greater than 5, print I'm getting printed because 8 is greater than 5. And then we want to say end. I'm getting printed because 8 is greater than 5. There's some little glitch with the connection. Okay. I don't think it's my internet, because I think my internet is pretty reliable, but I think it might just be the website. Else. So the partner to the if statement is the else statement, and an if-else statement says to Ruby, well, if this expression is true, run this code block. Otherwise, run the code after the else statement. And here's an example. So if 1 is greater than 2, we'll print, I won't get printed because 1 is less than 2. Else, print, that means I'll get printed, and then the end. So let's make an example. So if 8 is greater than 10, print, I won't get printed because 8 is less than 10. And then else, print, that means I will get printed. And then we end. That means I will get printed. Okay. What if you want more than 2 options? It's else if to the rescue. Else if statement can add any number of alternatives to an if-else statement. So add an else if block to your if-else statement in the editor. Okay, so else, and then, actually no, it has to be in between the two. So else if 8 is less than 10, or actually, let's do greater and equal to 10. And else, okay, let's change this a little bit. So the first one will be if 8 is greater than 10, we'll print, I won't get printed because 8 is less than 10. Else if 8 is less than 10, we will print, I will get printed because 8 is less, 8 is less than 10. The one up here, okay, it won't get printed, and then will get printed. And then else would print that 8 print, else print 8 equals to 10. Actually, that's going to be a string, so we need to put that in quotation marks. So if the two if and else if doesn't apply, it will print the third one. It's the wheels are turning. The Code Kid Me wheels. Okay, well, let's see if it's gonna. Okay, took. So I will get printed because 8 is less than 10. So it went with the second statement. Alright. Unless sometimes you want to use control flow to check if something is false rather than if it's true. So you could reverse the if else, but Ruby will do you one better. It will let you use an unless statement. So let's say you don't want to eat unless you're hungry. That is, while you're not hungry, you write programs, but if you are hungry, you eat. So you might write a program like this. So unless hungry, something will write programs, and then else, then we'll eat, and then we end. So we say that hungry equal false. So we started you off in the editor, replace with the correct unless. Okay, so unless hungry. So hungry is false. So unless hungry, I will write programs. Else, it'll be time to eat, and we end. So I'm not hungry, so I'm writing Ruby programs. Okay. I think I'm gonna stop for now. We're at equal or not, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, you can subscribe and give it a thumbs up. You can make, of course, comments and suggestions. They're always welcome, and I love to hear from you. So that's it. I hope you are relaxed and sleepy, and I will see you later.